up, everybody? This is Keith Jameson. Go back to your guy 231 across the DFS industry. Sorry that this is up late. I always wake up like the second day of Champions League morning, wake up early, get my research done, then tape this. And little man woke up this morning and did not go well. And I tried to tape with him up, like put cars on in the background. Should be good. No, that was not happening. But anyhow, got some extra time to research. Looking forward to the slate. Hope everybody did well yesterday. I think a lot of the picks that we were on really came through, especially if you were on Reece James. I know one of the things I said was I think that, those defender spots are so valuable. And we saw, Acuna was fine. Obviously, Reece James in a lot of ways broke the slate. If you went Rakitic, I can't say it right, but the man, you got a 92nd minute PK bailout. So there's a lot of good plays yesterday. Hope you all did well. Let's get right into today. Quick reminder, like, subscribe, comment on the channel. Our whole team is pretty pumped to be over 3,000 subscribers. The next hurdle, let's get to 4. So I would really appreciate y'all's help with that. And let's just jump into the games. Now, just a quick reminder here. I said this yesterday, and I'll say it today. Making and knowing what the teams are playing for is going to be critical, because we're going to see a team like today, like Liverpool, who they're already qualified for the next round. They're already in first place. There's no reason for them to play a full first team. Now, could you see a Mane? Could you see a Salah still? Yeah, but the sub risk is very, very real there. So let's jump right into it. And I think the most important game on the slate is Sheriff versus Real Madrid. Now, here's the craziest thing when you look at the standings here. Sheriff is still alive, though, not only qualify for the next leg, but to win the group. Real Madrid desperately needs a win here. They will be in control at that point. They are the biggest favorite on the slate at minus 455. We're looking at just around a 3 total. And I think that Toni Kroos is one of the more mispriced players in the slate for his floor. Toni Kroos, even this past week, and only had 2 crosses, but 2 assists, gets some tackles, fouls drawn, will get a shot every once in a while. Like, he's just the always get there's guy. Like, if he doesn't hit 10, I'd be shocked. And anytime he gets a goal or assist, all of a sudden 25's in play at 7,500. I think he's just an easy click and go. Then I think Kareem the Dream, as Jules Laurent would say, I think he's my next guy in from this game. Vinny Jr. has been amazing, but I think you combine the goal upside, the creativity, like Kareem has a real floor. It kind of reminds me, I don't want to put him in the same ilk as like a Ronaldo or a Messi, but these strikers that you still just play because the floor is there, just from the shots, the fouls drawn, the chances created. Kareem has close to a double-digit floor, and then has huge upside. He could score 3 goals here. If I told you that Kareem Benzema scored 3 goals, would you be shocked? No, you wouldn't be. So I think he's a really good play. I'm really interested to see who Real Madrid start at the right wing. Marcos Asensio started last game. I believe he scored. All reports where he was awesome. I'd be shocked with it being an important game if they don't go right back to him. If Lucas Vazquez is there, 5,800 playing a right wing, but position on the biggest favorite, I think that almost just becomes a plug and play in cash. But I hope as Asensio, he make an interesting second forward. I think the slate in so many ways is going to come down to that second forward spot. All right. So if Asensio's in, do you go him? You get a little discount off of a Vinny Jr., who's expensive. Do you get the real discount with like a Messi at 8,200, right? Messi, 8,200. And like, you actually have to sit there and think, like, just chew on that one. That's the next game. But, I'd rather do that than play one like a Minamino or a Origi at like a $2,000 discount to him. But then, the bigger thing is just, do you go with a second Madrid spot? There's enough value on this slate. I'm gonna hit on those spots to make it work. So those are just thoughts. Vinny Jr., as I said, has been awesome. Asensio would be great. I think that kind of wraps it up for Madrid. The fullbacks aren't like really crossing that much. Mendy scored on the weekend. But, you're not looking at like 7-8 cross games for them. You really want to go to goal or assist. But with some clean sheet odds built in, they have a chance at double digits. So I wouldn't call anybody crazy for Carvajal or Mendy, but they're not guys that I'm going out of my way for. And then Courtois, I don't really see this as much of a spin up on the goalkeeper slate. But if you do, I won't call it dumb. Sheriff, don't play anybody here. in Main, but Phil should be their sets. Otherwise, I just don't see a reason. City hosting Paris. What was the one tweet I saw? I was like, Pochettino on his way to Manchester. It's like, yeah, for the game versus Manchester City, but media is fun. I was shocked by these odds. -200 for City. Yeah, I know it's City, but Messi, Mbappe, Neymar, a really good Paris squad. To be +450 on a Kevin De Bruyne-less Manchester City just seems weird. Kind of seems like the bookies are like, we know something that you all don't, which is always scary. But right now, and it is around a 3 total, so -187 over or under the 3.5. And this game, in large part, will probably decide the group on who wins. I would say both these guys are going to go through. Let's start on City. I don't think there's anybody here that you're going out of your way for. If I had a favorite, it's probably. See, I don't even have a favorite. I was going to say it was going to be Bowden, but then if you see Mahrez in, it's just like, well, Mahrez might take over Foden and is going to take PKs, so it's $400 cheaper. Maybe it's Mahrez. I don't know. Foden or Mahrez probably. Okay, Gundogan. I can't really do it here. Sorry, I know you see the Draftkings tab, but I actually forgot to pull it up. So I'd rather just not worry about that. But Gundogan is 6,700. Tony Cruz 800 is far superior play. But Gundogan, Foden / Mahrez will split sets. My guess would be Mahrez, Gundogan with some Foden if Mahrez subs off. But Cancelo is amazing, but Cancelo is a little bit steep on the slate. It's especially steep if you sit and if you take into account like the slate context, at 6,500 in this matchup, he could have Messi, he could have Mbappe, he could have Neymar coming at him. I don't think it gives him the freedom to push forward as much as he normally wants to. So, just it's a weird spot that I just don't really like City much. Now, I think my thinking is probably going to be somewhat the consensus that, taking any city player, spinning the roulette wheel isn't going to be popular. So in GPP, doing like a mini stack, doing like a Foden Mahrez stack or Mahrez Sterling or something like that, mixing in Cancelo, I think you'll get really low ownership there. So I think that's a GPP move. For cash for PSG, Neymar, Messi, and I believe Mbappe also are all either Neymar 8,500, Messi 8,200, Mbappe 7,800. I don't love any, but I'm going to be sitting there at lock for a long time debating Messi at 8,200. It's Messi. He's going to get some sets. He's going to shoot a ton. Anytime he gets a chance, it's just a terrible matchup, right? Like if you just take the name off of it, which I don't know if you should do, but like you take the name off and you go 8,200 for a split set guy, like, and a team that doesn't even like cross the ball ton has a +450 away dog, you wouldn't even consider it. But because it's Messi, I think you have to by 8,200. So, but it's Messi, Mbappe, or Neymar. In a lot of ways, it's kind of similar to City that the presence of all makes none nearly as attractive, but it's Messi, guys. Just he's 100% in play. All right, let's move to Liverpool Porto. I think this is a pretty important game on the slate, just to see what Liverpool lines up as. Liverpool has won the group, as you'll see here. Porto really, really could use 3 points, like badly, because Madrid is at home for Milan. You got to be thinking that they're sitting there saying the same thing, that they need 3. We'll get to that game last. But nobody can catch Liverpool. So that's a reason that Liverpool, especially with the league being so tough with both Chelsea and City, is probably really smart. And the fact, I didn't even bring this up, but Liverpool is going to lose Mane and Salah for a month in January for the African Cup of Nations. So like Liverpool needs to get as many points as humanly possible in the league now before that happens, because that's going to be a huge, huge issue for them come the new year. So I think that they rotate. I think it's some form of Oxlade, Minamino, Origi, but I could be wrong. I remember a game last season in Champions League versus Midland that Klopp didn't rotate them. So, and I would just say this though, and I think I started off with this. if you see Mane and Salah, I don't think that you can expect that they're going to play 90. Like, I think that you have to, if you make the play, I think it'll be JPP only. I don't think they'll have much ownership. And I think you sit there and just go, I'm doing this knowing that if a sub happens at half or at 65, I can't be mad. So all that being said, the best players are the fullbacks, Tismikas and Nico Williams. I really don't think we'll see Trent. Robertson's already questionable, kind of dealing with an injury. That's why Tismikas started over the weekend. So I see no reason that they would risk Robertson here. And I just think that it's time to give TAA a breather, especially since he got some international duty. So yeah, I mean, you could really easily see them. Could Van Dijk sit? If you don't see Van Dijk and you see Konate and like Matip or Gomez, I don't think that playing Allison is warranted at all. So Liverpool is just the rotation. And if this happens, Sismikas and Nico Williams will split set. Nico Williams, 4,500 if in. I think it's just like a lock and load. He's the exact profile type of fullback that we love to target. I think that he should be 100% owned in cash. And if he's not, that's a gift. If Trent is in, though, I'm probably fading Trent. That's hard. But again, I'm too concerned about any of these number one first team Liverpool players just getting subbed early. So GPP only for Porto. Just because Liverpool's rotating doesn't mean I'm like flocking to Porto. Only one player I'll be interested in there is Oliveira. Went in majority of set pieces and on PKs. If you want to play Marcus Dean, or I'm assuming, I don't know why this isn't Diogo Costa, but the Porto keeper is definitely in play, especially with Liverpool rotating. GPP strikers, Luis Diaz, who's been awesome for them, totally in play. Sporting versus Dortmund, really, really important game. Ajax has clinched the group, not clinch. They get a point in the next two, they win the group. And Ajax is just so damn good that they're going to get a point, 1 point. So these two teams are battling for second. And whoever wins this game is in the driver's seat. And they both draw, then, I don't know who plays Ajax last, but, they're not feeling so great. So look at all those injuries for Dortmund. Jesus. Let's start. And then you got plus 140. So it's pretty much a pick 'em. It's going to be a lowish total game. It's probably around that 2.75 range. Sets for Sporting. Pedro Goncalves, he is potent on Draftkings. Always takes their PKs, is probably the best player in the Portuguese league. He's awesome, just at 8,700 on this slate. The context of this slate, I don't think you can lock him in, especially with the matchup. I think you're going other places, but if you show up with him or you find a way to him, like totally click, like dude's a baller. But he'll probably split with Sarabia, Pedro Porro, the City loanee. I think he's eventually just going to get bought by Porto, but Sporting. He's really good play too. Paulinho, I think it's a really interesting GPP play because Dortmund is starting to shore things up in the back, but they've still shown the ability to leak some goals. He'll be like a 0 striker, but I think that's all you could possibly do. I think playing Adnan with Dortmund without Haaland is going to struggle. Dortmund might not have Hazard. Like Dortmund's just down so many guys. So, playing Adnan at home, Sporting's a good defensive team. I think that could make some sense too. I'm talking more goalie than I ever went to. Probably just like all screwed up time-wise. Dortmund, nobody. I never like playing Dortmund anyways, so I'm not forcing it here. No. Julian Brandt, that will be their set pieces with this lineup. Guerrero could randomly take some, but no, pass on Dortmund, which means for GPP, you should load them up because I dismissed them so quickly. Bruges versus Leipzig. Leipzig will be out without Jesse Marsch, tested positive for COVID. Can't remember the other guy. I think it was Danny Olmo, but Leipzig was sitting on 1 point. Look, Leipzig not even going to the Europa League would be a stone disaster. So they need to win. Bruges, meanwhile, going to the Europa League would be a huge boost in this group. Bruges was not favored to do that. So this is a really important game. Bruges has some really underpriced pieces that I'm very, very interested in. On the Bruges side, and it's going to be under. It's right on 3 total. So we got a lot of 3 totals here. based on this, okay, because I think Ruud Vormer is doubtful. Ruud Vormer is, he takes almost monopoly set pieces. With him out, it's some version of Noah Lang, Matt Ritz at times. And then if like Kettler or Vanaken gets on them, I wouldn't be shocked. But I think Noah Lang is the player I really want to highlight at 4,200. Super talented. If you play so rare, I know this is kind of my thing, how it can always sneak so rare into this. You gotta, if you're gonna join it, please use my link. Don't use somebody else's. The links are very, very valuable. So hit me up on DM at GatorGuy231 if you want one. But Noah Lang, future superstar, 4,200, just a little cheap here. I think it's a really good value. You know, he put up good games versus City and good games. I'm sorry, not good game for City. Good game versus PSG to kick this off. So I think Noah Lang makes a ton of sense. Kettler is forward eligible, sub 6,000. I don't mind at all. I don't know much about Soa at all. Vanaken, you know, is their best player. And then Matt Ritz is dirt cheap. He's only like 3,300. So potential set share, 3,300. Like, it's kind of like the dude, a couple of people DM me asking why the hell did I ended up on the $3,000 wingback from Malmo yesterday. Go back to 2 games ago in the league without the Christensen guy. He had taken all these corners and had like 13 crosses. He was 3,000. It's like, okay, even if I'm wrong and he has no sets, which he had no sets, he did nothing other than a goal. He was 3,000, right? That's where you can risk those type of things. 3,300, you can risk Matt Ritz. If he doesn't show up with corners and he shows up like 4 or 5 DK, you're not dead. As long as you spent that savings somewhere good. So yeah, I think that's Bruges. For Leipzig, not the most DFS fun team, in my opinion. Like, they have really good players, but they kind of spread it around. Angelino and Kunku, based on this lineup, should probably split sets. You could see it be Forsberg. I don't really know offhand who's going to be between Kunku and Forsberg. I'll have to look more into it. But Angelino will take a share. He's under 6K. I think he makes a ton of sense at the defender position, give you a nice floor. And Kuku's been amazing in the Champions League. But again, you're taking him over like a Messi or over a Madrid piece. I think it's more GPP. But if you show up in cash, again, not crazy. Silva's been like way underpriced all tournament. He's getting back where he should be. 6,800 is GPP. Okay, that's that game. Last game, cool. Because I can hear my kids still screaming, even with the childcare here. Life of a parent and trying to do DFS content too. And having another job. It's good times. This is actually like a really interesting game. And I'm gonna like hate myself for saying that. Interesting game in Atletico Madrid is probably a death sentence, but I'm actually intrigued by a couple pieces here. So we'll go over that. Atletico, like I mentioned, like this is beyond a stone must win. Like Milan, you know, is really struggling, but Atletico Madrid has to get 3 here to really have a chance to move on. And them not moving on after winning La Liga last year, that would just be a stone disaster. So minus 167 at home. I think that's built into the line. This is an under game, under 3 total, right around 2.75. There's 2 guys that stick out on Madrid. Yannick Carrasco is 4,500. And then Semi Versalco, which I believe Trippier is out. Yeah, Trippier's out. 3,100, playing either a fullback or a wingback, had 11 crosses on the weekend. Yannick Carrasco had 8. Look, Atletico doesn't love to cross the ball as part of their game script, but when they're chasing the game or the other team's bunkering down, they can get crossed. 3,100 wingback. Like, this is like DFS 101. You just lock it in. And Semi Versalco has a lot of defensive deficiencies. Try to say that one on camera without like stuff. Defensive deficiencies. I don't know why I'm putting myself through that twice. But he's always been known as that offensive fullback. So 3,100 for him. If he's in, lock and load. Carrasco, share of set pieces, potentially a monopoly of set pieces. If you don't, Tom Slaymar was split with him. Simi could take some too, but Carrasco doesn't have a share. 4,500 attacking player. That's really intriguing too. He's in that Noah Lang conversation with at their price. Like, you know, there's a lot more upside than downside. Suarez GPP, Griezmann GPP, go for it. But I think the wingbacks are just really, really intriguing. For Milan, kind of on the descent. They lost their first game in Serie A. They've been battling by injuries. They are a lot healthier now. Tonali would take a majority, if not all, their set pieces here. He is 5,100. I'll pass. I'll go with Lang, or I'll go with Carrasco over Tonali there, just because of the odds. Milan, going to Madrid is not an easy place to go, especially with Simeone riling up the crowd and everybody knowing this is a must win. I just think that this isn't exactly the spot that you want to target somebody like that. So yeah, I don't know, Zlatan or bust probably. I don't see anybody else here that I really want to go. So Zlatan, he's only going to cost you 6,600. I think that's worth it. Big game Zlatan, that's a thing. So if he shows up, if I see a goal notification from Madrid, I'd assume it's Zlatan. All right, that'll do it. I'm gonna get out of here and go back to normal life. But I'm really looking for this slate. Hope you guys do too. Please, if you enjoyed the video, likes, comment, subscribe. You have no idea how much that helps. And with that, I'll say, see you.